I think he really fell with the group, and he's really having a lot of fun. And of course, his wife is left him, and he's bacheloring it for a couple of weeks, I guess.
She did not leave him. She's
T-
going away
temporary,
for a few
okay,
days.
yeah.
I gotta
But that's how he
clarify.
puts it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
she came on the
kinda
raid
put,
with us once, and then that's
put the
it.
brakes on all of that.
Don't start that rumor. Sorry, Mac. You didn't see that one coming, did you?
I kissed an orc and I liked it. The taste of his vocal chapstick. I kissed an orc just to try it. I hope my allied friends don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't meet up in love tonight.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lion's Pride Tavern podcast number 44. Tonight we talk about our weekend raid, which we did great. And one of our fans, one of our older fans, not that we're that old, but one of our older fans joined us for the raid this weekend. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Fafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is JobUui.
Hi, I'm JobUui. I play a Worgen Frost Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Night Elf Fury Warrior.
Epistle.
Hey, I play a Draenei Protection Paladin.
And OMG Tapachino.
Hey, Tapachino, your Night Elf Restoration Druid, and glad to be back.
I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but we were figuring you were out on the road on your bike.
Well, yeah, summer's going to be a little tough between the bike, the pool, the kids, the nice weather, and people get awfully popular when they've got a pool.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Pools and pina coladas.
Oh yeah, no, but not when I'm driving the bike or riding the bike. I have to get that nomenclature down right.
Yeah. It's kind of like the difference between a ship and a boat. Or what boat are you on? That's what I get all the time. What boat are you on? I'm on a ship, not a boat. All right, so JobUui, lead us off. Tell us how we did this weekend on our raid.
We did fantastic on the raid this week. We started off, and on our first night, we got through Goroth, Demonic Inquisition, and Harjatan. And then we started on Sisters of the Moon, but I don't think we got it down on the first night. Did we get the Sisters Moon down on the first night, or was that the second night when we came
Nope,
back?
we got them down.
The second night.
Yeah, I thought it was yeah, I think it was the second night. We did a couple polls on Sisters, and then, we did one poll and got blasted, and then we came back on the next night.
Well, because after Harjatan we did Sazine. We got
Did we do
Sazine down,
Sazine?
so we got 4 down.
Oh, right, that's right. I keep forgetting that we moved to Sazine after Harjatan. My mistake. So yeah, we did do Sazine, and then we did a single pull on Sisters, and then got blown away on that one. So we came back on the second night, down Sisters of the Moon for the first time, which was awesome. And then we went on and we took down the Desolate Host, and that's where we finished up. That was right at the very end of the raid. Was when we took down Desolate Host.
Yep, color kicks to the
Woohoo.
king on that one.
It's funny. We do that a lot. It seems like, okay, we got 10 minutes left in the raid. We're still having problems with this boss. Let's do one more pull for the night, and we take it down.
Yeah, I think a part of that is we're really good at identifying problem spots and then finding ways of adjusting through it for the most part. I mean, sometimes it's rough finding that adjustment, but we're getting even better at that over time as a group. And I think we're like figuring out, okay, this is where we went wrong. We need to do this to counteract that. All right, let's do that this time. Do everything else we were doing and do that this time. And then we move past that point.
So I'm going to ask a very, very difficult question.
Oh no.
We'll start off with JobUui. Lorelei's like,
A test.
oh no.
No,
Well,
not a
at least he's
test.
got time to think about it. I'm right on the spot.
What is the best pet in the game? No, not that kind of question.
No, out of all the bosses we've down so far, which is the one that you don't like?
Oh, that I don't like. Oh boy.
I told you it was tough because
It-
I like them all.
Yeah, I like them all. So picking the least favorite out of all those, I think I have to go with the Demonic Inquisition, simply because I'm not really fond of going into that little cage and having to run around the boss and hit it and grab those circles and go back out. And that, and granted, I mean I still like the fight, but I just don't necessarily like that part of it. So I think that's my least favorite right now, because the rest of them I really, really like a lot.
Lorelei?
Ooh, same thing. These fights have all been really good and interesting and different. I think I'm going to go with Harjatan because I think it's, for me, the simplest boss as far as what I have to do. And it's just follow him around and hit him and kill a few ads, and that's it. And, it's just, it doesn't seem like there's much to it.
Yeah, they threw in one pinata and said, "Here
Yeah.
you go, free loot." All right. Epistle?
Yeah, I'd agree with Lorelei that Harjatan has a kind of a been there, done that kind of feel to it as a boss, but I'm of mixed feelings about Sisters because I just sort of I hate it when I go to a boss and I don't know the mechanic exactly and why we're getting wiped out and all the factors. And so, I mean, I know we'd got better at it and had kind of mastered it, but I haven't got my head around that one yet. So maybe I'll enjoy it later, but even from a tanking perspective, it's kind of a tank and spank with a little sachet into changing out your debuff for taking that out. So I don't find that as a tank that exciting or inspiring.
You amaze me because I would have figured it would have been Desolate Host because you kept doing the Hokey Pokey song the whole time you were battling him.
No, because that was kind of interesting. I'm like, I got the rhythm of the fight early on, and so I was trying to encourage the people on my side to move where they needed to move because I kind of got that fight. I understood it pretty quickly.
Now, little did you know that you could just basically call switch, because your side changes at the same time as the other side does every time.
Oh yeah. So I could call for both at the same time. Although the way that kind of works, it feels to me that you could really stay in the whole time. It's just you go out for a debuff and then back in right away.
All right. And Tapachino, your least favorite?
Well, like all you guys, I love all the fights. They're challenging, they're fun, and just, yeah, fun. But I think probably if I had to choose one, I'd say Mistress Assassin. That part where you get sucked into that maw
whale?
there, that whale, yeah. I don't like that. It doesn't seem like I had control over when that happens. It kind of just creeps up on you, at least on me. So I think just for that reason that she would be my least favorite, although I still enjoy fighting with her.
So what about you, Fafford? What's your least favorite?
Well, I have to agree with Lorelei because the first two fights you got to take down, Goroth and Demonic Inquisition, they're technically challenging. I mean, the first night we did it, that's all the further we got. And we're a good raid group. And then, then the next night we came back and, we did Harjatan and Sazine, but Harjatan just went down. Sazine took a little longer, and then we got to Sisters and did a pull. But, so I mean, we didn't do bad for the first weekend raid, but this weekend I was just blown away. I mean, we did 4 bosses, got a couple of pulls on Sister, but Harjatan, yeah, I'm going to have to say that's my least favorite because it's just, it's too easy. And I hate saying that because then Blizzard's going to hear our podcast because they listen to us all the time.
Yeah.
Never
I was gonna
too
again.
say,
easy, you say.
don't say that, because he'll get a buff and then everybody will be stuck on Harjatan. It'll take 2 months for them to nerf him.
We'll lose all our followers. Thanks, Fafford. Thrilled that we got so far because I had only did the first 2 bosses our first week. So for me, it was pretty much new, except for those first 2, and it just was awesome that we got through so many.
I think there is a a factor that plays into that as to how we're doing in this is that, we made it decently far in heroic and got fairly well geared up before we walked into this raid as a group.
Yeah, I want to be a sort of an I told you so on that. I thought we'd move pretty quickly initially here. And actually, I'm kind of keen to move into heroic sooner than later this time around because I like the layer of extra complexity that heroic provides.
Sure. And I wonder if perhaps Harjatan has some extra complexity in heroic that
I'll bet.
will make it more interesting for those of you who are not finding it so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Have to look.
Well, to be
Could
fair,
be interesting.
it's just my least favorite of the 6 so far.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I'm not
I
saying
still
you're
like
like,
it.
oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
You're just.
Yeah, it's not like
it's like-
Stormar.
It's like, do I like chocolate, butterscotch, or I like them all, but
Yeah,
I just
I've
like this
said
one
I
the
don't
least.
hate any of the fights in this raid.
No, me either. There's one point. I know Pistol said his least favorite was Sisters of the Moon, but Sisters of the Moon has an aspect to it that I really like, and it doesn't have pretty much anything to do with me, and that there is a healer mechanic that the healers have to take care of in that
Oh
one.
yeah,
And I think that's cool.
it is very cool.
A lot of times it comes down to, the tanks have to absorb this or the DPS have to kill that, but there's so few things that the healers have to do this or it wipes the raid. And this
That
one's
was-
got one.
Yeah, that was which boss was that? That was
Mi-
awesome.
That
That is
Sisters.
Sisters of the Moon.
The Sisters of the Moon. That was just it made healing it like, hey, not that we're not part of the raid group, but we're so much a part of the mechanics in that fight. It was just a thrill to heal it.
Yeah, you're a key mechanic, taker carer of, however you want to say that. You guys have to handle that mechanic.
Yeah, it was great.
Now, and I know that there's like an alternative strategy to it, and it took a little while when we were on that boss, and I was like, look, this is how we should do it, and the healers do this, and we do and the DPS does that, and it's like and that has to happen pretty much at the same time, where the healers have to do something and the DPS have to do something, and if both of those groups do the thing they're supposed to do, then it like pretty much negates the mechanic. But if one side or the other fails to achieve their goal, then it blows us all up. And I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah, it was really cool. A lot of
That's-
a lot of strategy and cooperation between everybody.
And that's probably why I find it to be one of the least interesting ones because I just sort of sit there and hit the boss and do a little sachet and that's it.
Oh, so
Oh.
the poor tank doesn't get to do anything on the fight.
Well, the first few, arguably our tank fights. Either we get it right or everyone dies. So that's
Right.
Exciting.
Yeah, so enjoy your back seat there, buddy.
I don't get that. Tanks aren't like that. What are you talking about?
We can't please just 2 people all of the time.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So,
Wouldn't that be interesting if Blizz throws us a curveball on some boss in the future where if the tanks don't do something right, and the healers don't do something right, and the DPS don't do something right all at the same exact moment, then the raid dies? How hard would that mechanic be for a lot of groups?
yeah, Blizzards, you're not listening. I know that. Oh, they'll figure it out. We haven't been, we're only 6 of 9. We still got 3
Right.
more bosses.
Yeah, you might hear a different tune next weekend, fellow listeners.
So are we gonna do the flip side of that coin and talk
Yes. Yep. So, next up, what's your favorite of all 6 bosses so far, JoBui?
I'm gonna now, pardon me for this, but I'm gonna go with the Desolate Host. All right, and the reason why is because I get to stand still for most of that fight and just pew 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 as hard as I can for like 90% of that fight. And I, there are so few fights these days where, as a mage who doesn't have a lot of mobility, but I have a little bit of mobility, where I can just stand there and just try and work my magic and and see what I can push out as far as numbers go. That's a great fight for that, and I just really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and I know that that's just a pure like, hey, how much can I push my DPS out? But I like to do that. The rest of the fights are a lot of fun, but I liked just being able to stand there for a moment and just try and kill stuff.
So I'm hearing you say you want to take up tanking. That's what I'm hearing.
No.
Stand in one spot, hit buttons.
I want to blow things up with maximum proportions.
No,
Well, there's
because
a part of me thinking I'm blowing things up too. Well, just not with huge numbers.
all right, Lorelei, your favorite?
I can't decide between Maiden of Vigilance and Fallen Avatar. I really like those two fights. Maiden really is very simple when you look at all you have to do. You don't really have to do a lot, but everybody, like we were talking about, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, everybody has to do their own part. Otherwise, you wipe the raid. So it's more of making sure everybody does what they're supposed to do, getting out of stuff in time, staying on the right side. But Fallen Avatar is an unusual fight because you start off on a platform and you're killing one boss, and then the platform breaks when you have to kill the fallen avatar down below in the fell pool, and that's almost like a Cronus fight where the little island that you have to fight on breaks off each time he does something. He jumps off, or he jumps away. Then you get a smaller and smaller and smaller portion left to fight on. So I
feel
like
I
that one just because there's a lot of positioning you have to do for that one.
Does anyone else feel like they just got a lot of spoilers? You know, like,
You did. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just sitting there going, I think she does another podcast and she's on the wrong one tonight.
like I don't know those.
We
fights.
haven't done those
Yeah,
bosses.
those are unfamiliar to me.
So of the 6
They're
we
my
have
two.
done,
Okay. Good grief. Okay.
it was a
I'm
good.
like going,
I
what
liked
is she
it. I
talking
listened to the
about?
whole thing. I know.
Okay. Well, I guess of the ones that we've done so far, I actually like the Garoth fight. It's just a get in there. It's a tank and spank for the melee. It's just get in there, stand behind it, hit him, run behind something. And for the first fight, it's just like we can get that done and get on to something else.
Yeah, it does go down rather quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, almost all the mechanics on that fight, at least as far as the mechanics have to be dealt with, is handled by the ranged. I think.
Yeah, and we've done all those mechanics before
Well-
anyway. That's just the now I'm drawing a blank on names because I got everything shut down. In the Nighthold,
Yeah.
Hychondrius.
I don't want to overlook the
Yeah.
tanks too much, though. The tanks have plenty to deal with on that fight.
Yeah,
Well,
they
not
do.
a
But
lot.
for
We got the
melee, it's
basics,
just
but,
stand
yeah.
behind the boss and just hit him in the back leg.
Yeah, we refined it even this last week, just sort of changed up the positioning a little bit. But now that we've got the positioning, we'll pretty much do the same thing.
I'd say another one, aspect of in the Mistress Hazine fight that although Tap's not really fond of it, I really like that there are those mechanics out there, and we've talked about this a little in the past, that are not specific mechanics that the group in general has to handle, namely that ink and stuff. Like it's just players near the ink, grab the ink, take to the whale, feed the whale, and the whale goes away. And I like that that's there, and that there's mechanics for everybody in that
Yeah,
one.
Not that
Sazine
I
is
don't
my
like
favorite.
the fight, I just my least favorite. And only for that one reason, with the
Yeah,
maw there.
And that would be the reason it's my favorite. I really enjoy that one a lot, just because it's a crazy fight, and I enjoy crazy fights.
Yep. All right. Well, did we get Lorelei's favorite?
Yes,
got-
but then
Oh, yeah,
I was
she
told
did
I couldn't
Goroth.
have
Yeah,
that as a favorite.
The correct one? How about Epistle? Your favorite?
Oh, I think I was just saying, Zine is my favorite because I love the running around. I like that there's multiple things for everyone to be doing to keep it going, and yeah, it's a keep on your toes fight. So it's very active, very mobile.
Okay, all right. Tapachino, your favorite?
God, that's a hard one. Just as it was trying to pick my least favorite because they're all a lot of fun. I think for Jobui's reasons, the Desolate Host, where you don't have to really run around that much. The first time we did that fight, I realized I'm like, wow, I've been standing in the same place for like this whole fight, and I didn't have to move. I could just heal and being in the spirit realm. And I think near the end, I had to move to go towards the middle because I was soul blind, I think it's called, when you have to go to another player and then run back and go back into the spirit realm. So I think that was kind of cool. I do my best heals when I can, kind of stand there and concentrate. So that was kind of cool. But I did love all the fights. So it's hard to really say which is my absolute favorite so far.
See, and I like Sisters of the Moon because there's so much going on. I actually went into DBM and I tweaked all the sound files. So when Moon or the ad boss, the extra ad that comes out, this gunshot goes off right before it comes out, and then I have when you have to switch between day and night, if you get too many stacks, it comes up going, "You will die." So and it came up, and it was so annoying though because it came up right when it was all white and the boss was doing its mate, and I had to wait, and I kept getting more stacks and more stacks and more stacks.
I made weak auras for myself for that particular fight because there were so many things that I needed to keep track of that I didn't want to have to try and look at my debuff bar to see how many stacks and stuff. So I have things that like pop up and warn me when this is happening or that's happening, or I have a bunch of stacks plus DBM is telling me to, just so I can take care of stuff. But nothing that's going to repeat at me that I'm going to die over and over again.
Yeah, it's funny. That was a fun fight too. Going back and forth in the this moon and the dark moon.
I feel
That
like
was
this
just fun.
I feel like this raid in general, like that Blizzard's like really hit their stride in the raid design. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it's really well designed. It's beautiful. The fights are interesting, and thus far it's been really cool. And from what I've heard from Lorelei, the next fights are going to be really cool too.
Good, we have that to look forward to as well. We don't have to go into next week going,
Well,
oh
when you
man.
watch it, you'll know what's coming up.
Oh, that is true.
Well, the other thing that I got to say that I really enjoyed in the raid this last week was when people hit, what was it, some sort of landmine, and they became the enemy. And it's just you turn on one of your own and destroy them. It makes me so happy.
I personally like the polymorph bomb. I didn't do it. I ran off like you're supposed to, but I watched people, and they deliberately got it and ran over and hit somebody with it to polymorph them. I saw that happen more than once.
It turns
We
you
have
into
a mean
sheep, is
streak.
that right?
Yep.
Yeah,
We have
'cause
people with a mean streak.
Between the sheep and the silence and not being able to do anything, you just stand there and get hit on. Not in a good way.
I actually have not been turned into a sheep yet. Every time I get the polymorph thing, I mean, I run off, so I'm away from everybody else, and then I ice block because I'm a mage. Like hell, if I'm gonna get turned into a sheep.
So well behaved.
All right, so
Well-
next raid on Friday, when we get to that point, we need to get the polymorph bomb and find Jobuui.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Target number
so-
1.
Does everybody think this trash is the worst trash so
Yeah.
far?
Are you kidding me?
I
There's so
love it.
little of it.
Oh no, it's that one hallway is just horrible.
Well,
Where you
that
get
one
sheeped
hallway.
and
Yeah.
We went in there Saturday where you can get polymorphed, you can get silenced, you can get sent into the spirit realm, and then you have to get out of that. You have to be careful not to be too far down the hall, or when you come back, you bring everybody else down with you. It's horrible trash.
But
well, it's like
but
they
the-
saved
just
all
that
the
one
worst of
part of
trash
it.
for that. Yeah.
Oh, I
yeah,
just
and you
hate the
know,
trash in
like
there.
I've loved the way the trash is set up in this one because it seems like there's a lot less trash than we had to deal with within in the night hold between bosses. So
Yeah.
there's
That's
you
my
know
impression. Yeah.
We could get to bosses faster, get more done.
I mean,
But
you
then
start
this
off the
one's
raid
tough.
and what is it? One group of trash, more or less, and then you start the first boss, and then it's one or two groups of trash, and you're on to the second boss. And it's just, I feel like the flow is nicer, but yeah, that one group of trash you're talking about is a little tougher. In fact,
Yeah,
It's
it's a
almost
beast.
a
wiped
boss
on
fight
it,
in itself.
and and people falling off the world in there.
Yeah.
I
There's
fell
Actually-
off
lots of
the
little
planet.
places where you can end up in getting bad things happening to you. Little rooms, if you turn off to the wrong way, you end up in a room full of trash.
Get beat up.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Was at one point, I don't know, I jumped and I ended up like going off the planet. I was like going towards a constellation or another galaxy or something. I don't know what it was.
I'm
It
glad
was
that
really
doesn't
weird.
happen in everyday life.
yeah. Let's do predictions. So bring up your lists so you know what bosses come next. So we're going to do predictions on how far we think we're going to get next raid. Because I personally will not be there, and neither will one of our main tanks, Durag, and another one of our DPS.
Oh,
And I think
So-
one of our healers as well.
So
yeah, we got
We
Forget
have
about
down a
hot
little
spots.
bit, but so let's keep that in mind. We're going to be short a few players. Jobui, where do you think we're going to get?
Well, I'm apparently organizing and running things next week, so it's kind of a tough one for me to call. But I am hoping that we get through what we've gotten through before, and that we make some pulls on Maiden of Vigilance. But I do not know that we'll take it down or not, because I haven't really looked at that fight a whole lot. So, and I'm going to this week. I am gonna, I've already suffered a little bit of spoiler, but I'm gonna be suffering some more because I got to look at the mechanics so that I can try and help other players get through it. So I think we'll at least get a pull or two on Maiden of Vigilance, but I don't know if we'll get it down. It's gonna have to be a guess on that one. I'd like to get it down, but I'm not gonna try and predict that we will. I think we'll get to it, but I don't know if we'll get it down.
Okay. All right. Lorelai?
I think I'm going to be proactive on my prediction. I think we'll get it down by Saturday.
You
Maiden
think we'll take Maiden?
Vigilance. Yeah.
All right.
But not any further.
No.
Okay. All right.
I think
Well,
we're
you
gonna
got-
get further on.
Well,
I
we've
think we're gonna
got,
get further on
you
the
know,
first night. That's
I
what
don't
I
think
think.
Donna's done a lot of the fights on, tanking it.
Well, she
So-
can't because she normally does it LFR, and only the
Right.
first section's opened up, first three bosses.
Oh, yeah.
But she's
So
a
with
pretty
the
Hard to
solid
first
expect to
tank.
see.
two
in.
being kind of easy, I mean, I don't think she's going to have a problem with Garoth or what's the one after we do
Demonic.
demonic. Yeah, I don't think she'll have a
Inquisition.
problem. I don't think she'll have a problem with the first three at all.
Lots
Well-
to learn, but I think we'll be able to work well together. And she's definitely got skills, so I'm not concerned about her confidence or her competency. I'm thinking more the whole overall group has to kind of respond with a slightly different configuration and try to see if we can remember all the fights, because we've got so many of them. There'll be little pieces that people might miss, so it might mean we proceed a little slower. But I'm more optimistic. I think we'll get a couple pulls in on Fallen Avatar.
Hmm,
Wow.
interesting.
All right. All right. Well, that's good. Tapachino?
Let's see. I think we'll at least get through Desolate Host, like we did this weekend. I'm not sure though if we'll go further. I hope so, and I hope we get a few pulls on Maiden, but I think we'll at least get through Desolate Host.
Well, all I'm going to say is if you guys get a lot further, I'm going to be upset. I wouldn't be there.
Then maybe I'll have to do it some more. Is what's going to happen. The thing is, I think everybody's like learning these fights really fast. They're learning their jobs on the fights. So, I don't think there's going to be a lot to explain. So we're going to be basically, and I'll, like when I run things, I try and run a tight ship. So it'll be like pull. All right, let's move on to trash. All right, let's trade loot. Let's pull. Let's move on to trash. Type of thing, and just kind of keep us moving. Type of thing.
Okay.
My ears will be waiting for that word.
Yeah, I'll be giving it.
So I think we've progressed so much further, so much faster because of the dedicated and hard work of the raid leader and describing the fights as is.
Don't pat your back too hard there. Your face might stay like that.
So I won't be there to call. So I'm predicting that you get to sisters.
Well, that's lovely. If people go and look at our YouTube channel, they will hear a whole bunch of people calling out different aspects of the fight as we've been learning it. So it's kind of feeling like a team effort.
Oh, it is.
It
It
certainly
totally
has
is.
been.
I was just,
We'll
I
miss
was
your
trying
part
to
of it.
pat myself.
We'll miss
but
your
it
part
just,
of it.
He was trying to pat himself on the back and give me a nudge at the same time, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm throwing the pass to you.
Yeah. I think, like everybody's been really solid this raid. I think they've been honing their skills and really tightening up in Nighthold for this expansion. And I think everybody's been like pretty on slam throughout this whole raid so far.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, so we had a longtime listener of ours join us for this raid weekend. This is the first time, and I have to apologize to her because her and I have been kind of going back and forth on our Facebook page, and she was trying, because we use Open Raid to recruit, and she was having big time issues with it, and I kept forgetting to go back and look at the messages to see what she had responded, and I was just bored one day, and I went, oh, I better go check those, and I went and looked, and sure enough, she's like, I just can't get Open Raid to work, and that's where we left it. So I sent her another message, and gave her my B tag, and then she joined us. She's, like I said, she's one of our longtime listeners. Her name's Charity. She is normally a tank, and she brought a healer into our raid. And Tap, you tell me. I mean, I think she was doing pretty good. I didn't really look at the numbers yet.
Well, she was, at the low end of the totem, if you pardon
Okay.
my expression. She is a shaman, but I'm going to talk about shamans in my healing minute. But she did decent, not to get too much into it, because like I said, I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes. But she did decent, very solid. Knew the fights. She had some good tips for us. So, I'm sure that if she gets more gear and stuff as a shaman, she'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Her numbers would be right up there. So,
Well, we, we're druid heavy on our heels, so,
yeah.
and we just got a couple of priests just recently, and now all of a sudden we got a shaman healer, so we're starting to diversify a little bit in the healing category.
Absolutely, and it's nice to have that, diversity, because it gives you a lot of choices and a lot of different AOEs and such.
You said she normally plays a tank. Is that her main?
Yes.
Do you know how good her gear is on her?
I
tank?
don't, because from what I understand, and I didn't talk to her a lot on it, but the vibe I got was that her other group kind of fell apart, so she's been looking for another group, and she knew off the top, that we already had tanks covered, and everybody's got DPS covered. I mean, you can't be a raid group without
Right.
having too much DPS. It's typically tanks and heals that we need, or that anybody needs, So she
Sure.
was just like, I'll bring my healer, and I got a shaman healer. And I'm like, okay, we've never had a shaman healer before.
Yeah.
Mommy keeps threatening to shaman heal, but I keep
But we
saying, no,
we
that's
so
all
much
right.
like her DPS.
Well,
Yeah.
the thought I had there was, we've got 4 weeks coming up where we're gonna need a substitute tank, and if her tank is strong, and if she's interested, it would be,
It'd be a
I
good
know we've
match.
already got Donna going in there, but if Donna wanted to stay in place, then we could have her come in and tank for us if she's interested.
Sure. We'll just ask her right now. Charity, would you like to tank while Epistle's gone? And you'd be tanking with Duroc. Let us know.
And in fact, maybe sometime we could have her on the podcast.
Oh, yeah. She would love to do that, I'm
Mhm.
sure. And I actually, that was one of the things I was working on, but I was hoping somebody would email me and say, I've got the designer of WeakOrs and he wants to be interviewed.
I am terribly sorry about that. I have had a very, very busy week, and I completely spaced that out. I did not even contact him. I will put that on my to-do list. Sometimes if things don't make my to-do list, I forget to do them.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Don't we all,
Well,
as guys, we
course-
always have our honeydew.
It'd be kind of fun, actually, though, because we got a large group of listeners who might actually know somebody who's done add-on development who might be interested in coming on too, because that would be fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
Especially it's the one we use. I would
Even
love
better.
to get DB on.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a group. I think
It
that's
is. Yeah.
it's
It's
a
a
group
company,
effort.
actually.
Is it a company that does
Yeah.
DPM?
They do
Wow.
a lot of other stuff, but this is like their side fun project, whatever. And because it took off, now they just got to keep up with it.
Yeah. I've done add-on and I've done add-on development myself, and I know how that goes on the keep up with it.
Yes.
I used to do add-ons for EverQuest back in the day, and even after I quit EverQuest, like a year or two later, I was still getting people contacting me about my add-ons and, are you going to update this or whatever? And then I ended up like handing off some of my add-ons to other people to take over.
Yep. Yeah. I did in Dungeons and Dragons, the computer game. I would make dungeons, and I would make them from the original paper version as close as I could, and people were just going nuts over it. I did White Plume Mountain, and people were just, oh my god, that was the funnest one. You got to do this one, you got to do that one. And I just slowly backed away going, no, I'm not doing this forever. I did that as a kind of a side project because it was fun. So yeah, Charity, thanks for coming. You're always welcome back to raid with us. And we had Mac from Goblin Goldcast again. I'm believing he might just end up being a regular because he's never been a raider. He loves doing dungeons and loves making gold.
Yeah, and he's actually staying alive a lot longer
Yeah.
now too.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
not paying a lot of gold out for time.
I didn't
Well-
have to bring him a tent and a sleeping bag this week.
I do know that I listened to his podcast, and he's kind of complaining about how much money he spent to get his tune up so fast so he could join us. He's like, 200,000 gold.
Worth every copper.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you got a big pile of gold, spend a little for some fun.
With some fun people.
Swim in your giant gold coffer, you can spend some of it and go raiding.
Mhm.
Hey, he stays afterwards too and does the mythics with us as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think he really fell with the group, and he's really having a lot of fun. And of course, his wife is left him, and he's bacheloring it for a couple of weeks, I guess.
She did not leave him. She's
Te-
going
temporary
away for a
okay,
few
yeah,
days.
yeah.
I gotta
But that's how he
clarify.
puts it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
She came and
kinda
raid
put,
with us once, and then
put
that's
the
it.
brakes on all of that.
Don't start that rumor. Sorry, Mac. You didn't see that one coming, did you? Yeah, I kind of left that one, didn't I?
His wife will be listening to it on her saunter there and go, "What? What has he been telling these people?"
But yeah,
no.
so, and then he was telling me, after the raid, he was telling me that Dex is actually working on his hunter. And that, yes, it was a joke that he was not going to bring us all over to the Horde.
Yeah.
So, we have a fan-asked question this week,
beautiful.
and I do not know the answer to this. So I think I know, but I'm going to throw it up as a group, and if anybody knows. So the question was, if you look at the Nightfall and rep, as you're gaining Nightfall and rep past Exalted, you can keep earning rep, and it'll give you a Nightfall and cash treasure. And what they're asking is, specifically, can you do that with all the reps, or is it just the Nightfall and cash, or Nightfall and rep?
That's
I
with
don't know.
all
the
of them.
faction ones, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the
it's-
factions.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
little goodies too that are a random and very rare, but you can get like mounts or appearances or something.
Very rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've gotten the one thing I didn't want and nothing that I do want.
Yeah, that's the same with me, is that I've gotten one thing that I didn't really care that much about, and nothing that I actually want. And really, to be honest, there's only one thing that I've been after, and I want the Valajar Stormwing, which is the big storm drake that comes from Stormheim that you see all over the place there.
I have actually gotten none of the special things at all, so I guess I can't say I haven't gotten anything I didn't want or anything I did want.
Yeah, I just got the wardens. So all you need to do is, for every extra 10,000 rep that you get, you'll get that special cash. So
Yeah.
it's a good reason to keep doing it. The mounts are pretty cool. I think the wardens thing is kind of lame, but because I didn't want it.
Yeah, the Wardens is like you get to dress up like the Wardens.
And
you get a
they're pretty
transmog.
lame looking to begin with, so I
You
don't want to look like
I've
that.
always thought like the Wardens, especially when they have those big weapons on their back, they kind of look like an earwig to me.
For those weapons, I
Ew.
always thought it was their shoulders, and I'm like, their whole look just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's kind of weird looking. I've never really liked the Warden's like outfit. Maybe somebody out there does, and I'm not faulting you for that. I'm just saying I don't like it. The Nightfallen get a flying carpet that is similar to like what the tailoring gets.
Yeah, I
that.
can't
And
wait
is that
to get
for-
that.
Is that account wide regardless of your
Yeah, it is.
spec?
Yep,
Oh,
any
that's
mounts
nice.
are account wide.
Yeah, these are all account-wide mounts. You get there's an Elder Horn from the High Mountain. There's the Stormwing dragons that you see around in Stormheim from the Valajar. There's a Hippogriff from the Court of Ferondis. You get the Wild Dream Runner, which is like a unicorny kind of creature from the
Yes.
Dreamweavers.
Yeah, I
that
got the
one's so
Hippogriff.
bad.
Cool.
Yeah,
I
there's
like
a
the
flying.
Hippogriff. I got that.
The flying carpet from Nightfallen, and there is then the Wardens give you the outfit, if you want the outfit.
All right, so I have to admit, I went on a Mythic, and I went with Mac. I was in his group, and I think Ark and Shadow is there also, and he's also one of our fans that have joined us and joined our guild and started raiding with us. But they both had the class hall mounts, and when you're they're dragon wingy things, but when they run on the ground, I swear with their demon hunter blades that they have strapped to their back, from the back side, and I think Tap, were you with us?
I was there too.
Yeah,
That's why I
they
started
look like
laughing.
the flying monkeys from the Wizard of
Oh
Oz.
God!
I am dead
Oh,
serious.
inspiring.
They look so funny.
Because
And
they
I'll bet
hop.
they did that on purpose too.
Yeah, they do. They hop.
No, I bet Blizzard drew them like that on purpose.
I bet they did.
Do you know somebody caught that around the water fountain? They said, "Let's just leave it in."
Yeah. So now, next time you guys see Ark and Shadow or Mac and he gets on his mount, start singing the Yellow Brick Road. We're up to
Right.
see the
To see
wizard.
the wizard.
You
Hello,
know,
my pretties.
and the last one, by the way, the Legion Fall, because they have that bonus as well. Should you get 10,000 extra Legion Fall, the Orphan Fellbat pet is what you get from them. You get a pet battle pet.
Ooh, a
Yeah.
pet battle pet?
I actually
Yeah.
got that, and I
Yeah.
sold it for like, oh my god, 40,000 or 50,000 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah, very cool.
I'm not
So,
a big
yes.
pet person, so for me it was like, yay, gold.
Hey,
So
a Christmas present for Lorelai. Just wrap it up in a bow and mail it.
I don't think it was her
You can
birthday
do
or anything
that
at the time.
now.
Next
You can do
time.
that now. I brought my little baby priest over to the guild.
Oh yeah.
So yes, to answer the question, yes, all the reps will give you some sort of treasure once, and I didn't realize it was 10,000. I didn't know what the one was. So
And if you
Yeah.
go to your reputation, on your character tab, and you can mouse over it, and it'll show you how many how much you have. And if there's a little check mark next to it, next to the little gold bag or on the gold bag, then you can turn one in to that reputation person.
Yeah, you
to
have to mouse
get
over
the
on the
extra.
gold bag over there. Yeah.
oh really? Okay, that tells you how much is left.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and how much you need out of that amount.
Yeah, until the question came in, I didn't even know what happened because I'm only exalted in Nightfallen, So then I went, oh, really? I'm getting past Night. So I went and looked. I was like, sure enough, I'm earning past Nightfallen. I was like, huh, I do not know the answer to that question, so I'm going to pose it to the group. All right, guys, I think it's time. Cue the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Hello. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 10 new pets that are available with the latest patch. I've mentioned a couple of them already in last week's podcast, but 2 can be found in the Deaths of Chromie scenario. These 2 bronze dragons have a chance to drop from the Time Lost wallets, which are sometimes awarded from the Sands of Time. For all you 100 plus rogues, you can speak with Griffith and Alabas in your rogue class hall for a quest. Upon completing their quest line, you'll earn a new currency, coins of air, by pickpocketing mobs on the broken shore. These coins can be exchanged for the dig rat and the sneaky marmot pets, and these pets are bind on use and cageable, so there's a good way to make some extra money. Micronax will be awarded from the Glory of the Tomb Raider achievement for Tomb of Sargeras. This achievement can only be completed on normal difficulty or higher. Now, have you seen Squirt? I haven't, because I just found out about her. And just when you thought there was no reason to go back to your garrison, Blizzard came up with another one. Now, Squirt's actually been around for a year now, but I'm just now finding out about her. Every 15 days, which is one full rotation of the menagerie pet battle bosses, Squirt will show up and offer up her own pets to battle. Squirt is a reference to Diablo 2, and she brings along her Diablo-themed pets. And as luck would have it, she'll be available on Monday, July 3rd, so get out to your garrison. And the other pets I'd already mentioned, and those were the Dead Mine pets and the Sundarter hatchling. So go out and start looking for some new pets.
Awesome. So I got a funny little story for you. So I was leveling up not leveling up, but I was running around questing and getting artifact power and resources for my alt, which is a druid. And I went to the Broken Shores, and I'm just grabbing quests where I can here and there. And there's one by the flight path, and there's a quest there, and I grabbed it and went, yes, I'll do it. And I didn't even read it, and it was a stupid pet battle. Now, I had changed all my pets over to level 1 pets because I was just playing around, and I got my butt kicked.
I'll bet you did.
3 level 1 pets against 3 level 25s. No
Yeah, that
challenge.
was a quick fight.
Yeah. I was like,
Spit,
well,
spit,
I'm not
spit,
I'm not completing that quest.
Aw. Well, I went around flying today because there's so much news out there right now. I've got to break it all up. But there was this month's pet on Warcraft Pets is a pelican, not a pelican, a seagull chick. And I said, oh man, I got to go find that. And I'm flying around looking for it. And I said, let me look in my pet, because I've got over 700 pets. It's hard to remember them all. I already have it. So, oh well, okay, never mind. Don't have to do that one. But I did today, and I had to do 3 attempts at it. I got the snow feather hatchling from the Snow Feather Swarm World Quest, where you have to kill
cool.
the matriarch, and then you have to find her baby and give it some food. But the baby is not where I thought it was. So I had the third time was the charm, and I looked farther down the forum list and found that the baby is actually a little bit farther away from where she is.
700 pets. I thought I was doing well with over 100.
7. I'm not. Maybe
What, you
almost
can't
up to
remember 'em all?
750, but I don't think so.
All right, and then there is
Getting Deeps with Joe Bowie.
In your average raid boss fight, you'll have 3 basic phases that you will use over the course of the fight: the opener, the rotation, and the burn. This general formula will get you through most situations. The first is the opener phase. This is a set sequence of actions that you will take starting just a few seconds before the fight begins. The first action for nearly all players will be to pre-pot or drink a battle potion just before the fight begins. This will allow you to use a second potion later during the burn phase. Then if you have a powerful spell that takes a long time to cast, time it up so the spell will go off just after the tank will pull the boss. Then proceed with your opening attacks. Next is the rotation phase. This is your general order or rotation of spells and attacks that you will use throughout most of the fight. Your rotation will vary to some degree based on boss mechanics and whether or not you're attacking a single target or multiple targets. Then there is the burn phase. This is the point when you need to really pour it on and squeeze out that extra DPS. The burn phase can actually happen at almost any point, but is usually when the group is trying to push through a specific portion of the fight. Most often the burn phase is accompanied by the use of heroism. However, there can be more than one burn phase during a fight. A good time to initiate a second burn phase is when some of your most powerful DPS cooldowns become ready at the same time. At this point, you'll want to use your second potion and give it all you've got to damage the boss. If your group didn't use heroism at the start of the fight, drink your second potion and start a burn phase when your group triggers heroism. Your strategy for all 3 of your phases will vary considerably from one class and spec to another. So if you're not sure what you should be doing, check helpful websites such as Icy Veins for information specific to your class and spec, or talk to other players who play the same class and spec as you do. They might have some helpful advice. Knowing your opener, your rotations, and when to burn will help you keep getting those deeps.
very good. So, yeah, speaking of openers, so when we were doing the first pull of Desolate Host, I totally my keys were all off by one button. I moved my hand and they were all, and I was like, what is going on? I screwed up my opener big time. But
I've done that so many times I can't even count. You know, it's like, all my spells are wrong. What's happening?
you know, because you hero and you want to get all your, and then it's all off. Oh well.
Yeah. And you know, that can really throw you off for a good amount of time. It's not just like 2 or 3 seconds. It's like a minute before you recover sometimes.
Yeah, it was kind of like when Donna Bell started posting her phone number in chat. 441-1235.
Yeah. I've seen you do that before too.
Yeah.
You know, you're like 11117771111555555.
Enter.
Yes.
Oh, darn.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
This week's Come At Me, a Tanking Minute, we revisit last week's Shifting Priorities. We'll call it Shifting Priorities Redux. You may recall last week I was talking about the importance of shifting your secondary stats in order to get just that extra little margin to help you out in a tight situation. So in my case, changing haste to versatility was theoretically supposed to make me a tougher tank, a harder shell. Well, thanks to the joy of theory crafting and people crunching numbers and rethinking and revisiting some of these things, turns out, according to theory crafters, all that change was for naught. And now I'm being told it's good to shift from versatility back to haste. I love theory crafters. Don't get me wrong. I'm very glad there are people who are working very hard to figure out the best way to go for your class and spec in order to fill your role in the game. However, even though I'm not trying to make as much money as, say, people on a Goblin Gold cast, I am trying to not spend all my gold regemming and enchanting every single time. Now, we're playing on normal at this stage. We're not playing Mythic. I've got a few people who are whispering about some of their Mythic encounters and how they're banging their heads against the wall just trying to get something perfect. Well, we're not doing Mythic. So now I'm going to say there are times, too, that you do want to improve your secondary stats, but other times you kind of have to accept reality. If you're doing fine, your gear level's high, why drop tens of thousands of gold just to kind of get that small sliver of improvement? I mean, if we were having trouble in our raid, and clearly we're not, I would say I'd need to be investing to make it absolutely the best I possibly could be. But in this case, we're not on the edge. It's not a make or break situation necessarily. So if you're in that situation, don't throw all your gold in one direction, especially during switchovers when theory crafters might be changing their minds a little bit. Let's say when there's a new raid. Don't always try to get everything perfect. Sometimes you have to accept reality and do things like make sure you got your best and bad gear, perfect your rotation, learn the fights, and worry about that razor cutting edge another time. And that's Come At Me, a Tanking Minute.
Very good.
I need a healer. I'm holding up for a healer till the end of the run. They gotta be skilled and they've gotta be calm and they've gotta be second to none. I need a healer.
Hi, folks. Today I'd like to thank Shepherd, aka Charity, for joining us in our raid this weekend. Shepherd, who heals as a restoration shaman, brings some more diversity to our team of druids, priests, and our lone but very welcome paladin, with her interesting array of healing spells and cooldowns, and is always welcome to come back and heal with us. It also doesn't hurt that she tanks and knows fights from that perspective. No offense to our fantastic tanks, even though Durag does out-heal us from time to time with the unbelievably strong Death Knight self-heals, but back to shamans. As I have stated in an earlier podcast, it is beneficial to all healers to at least have an idea of what each of the healers in your team can do, especially if you're calling out AoEs or doing raid assignments. So on that note, a bit about shaman healers. Shamans make excellent healers. They have multiple AoEs and decent single-target heals. They bring an array of spells and totems that fill in the gaps for our druid heavy hots and fit in nicely in an AoE rotation. Because they have more than one AoE, they can use their strongest in the rotation and augment healing with their others. Shamans are also great at getting folks up from the brink of death and have nice mobility heals with Spirit Walker's grace. Shamans are a welcome addition to any raid, and we are fortunate to have had one in ours this weekend. And hopefully we will have her again, because she is always welcome. And that concludes my tap into the Healing Minute.
Awesome. All right, it's WFN News, Warcraft Fafford News. The next building coming up is the Neither Disruptor. And guys, this has the Seal of Fate, your free bonus rolls. So you get one each day, plus it also has the Epic Hunter. The weekly quest next week is the Pet Battle Quests. Lorelei will be happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
WoW tokens are at 125k in the States. And for the 4th of July, which they don't call it that, but there's fireworks on Tuesday on the 4th, every hour on the hour in any major capital or Booty Bay. I don't know why. But it starts at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, July 4th, and ends at 4 a.m. July 5th, Wednesday. The Midsummer Fire Festival ends Wednesday also. Don't forget to get that done. Now, a really cool part. The Dark Moon Fair is up this week. It started Sunday, so it's already going. Go down to the Dark Moon Fair, and there's the Blight Boar Band. Now, what you got to do is you got to defeat the attackers, and you gain favor with them, and the band will give you some treasure. You can get a cage helmet, a microphone, or a transmoggable guitar mace. If you haven't seen these, Go check them out on Wowhead. They got pictures of all of them. The microphone seems kind of cool. It does puts everybody in a big dance, and it's a heavy metal, death metal dance. The cage is kind of a S&M spiky cage helm, and then the guitar mace looks really cool. Looks like a big guitar, electric guitar. So, guys, we have hit our hour. So I just want to put out one more thing. Thank you to Charm for our beautiful music that we get in front of our minutes. She's the one that sings all those. Go check out her website. The links are in the description below.
Thank you, Charm.
And thanks for Mac from the Goblin Goldcast coming to raid with us. And, of course, Charity, thanks for showing up. We really appreciate it. You guys are great people. Glad to have met you. Guys, thanks for coming, my panel. And all you fans for listening. Thank all of you. We'll see you all next week.
See ya.
Thank you.
See you
and
around.
Good week.
everybody have a great and safe 4th of July.
I kissed an orc and I liked it. The taste of his bulgur chapstick. I kissed an orc just to try it. I hope my ally friends don't mind it. It felt so wrong, it felt so right. Don't meet up in love tonight.
If you like this podcast, throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. And please, leave comments or questions below. Maybe we'll answer them on the air next podcast. We are hosted on Podomatic.com. Our website is lionspridetavern.podomatic.com. Our podcast also airs on iTunes for Apple users, Google Play for Androids, and YouTube. Just search World of Warcraft Lions Pride Tavern podcast. See you next week, and thanks for listening.